Welcome, horror fans, and thank you for downloading The Horror Show. Sit back while your hosts Sean and Joe take you back in time to review your favorite and not-so-favorite horror movies from yesteryear. With their own twisted comedic view, your host will remind you why you loved or hated those classic horror movies and other horror-related events. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to The Horror Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Horror Show, the show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not-so-favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
And this week, we are going... It's March.
It is.
Happy March.
Yes.
And, I guess. And in the spirit of the month, it's actually, I guess, just a day, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
We've got a show going on for Friday the 13th, so we can't do St. Patrick's Day show. So we are doing Leprechaun.
Yes.
What a movie. But before we get into Leprechaun, I actually just want to give a thanks to everybody that sent in the Valentine's Day stuff. They sent in their Valentines. That show was huge for us. I mean, more downloads than we've ever had, ever.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah. It was just amazing. It was such an incredible turnout, and we really appreciate it. And even last week's show did great. So, guys, thank you so much for submitting and listening and giving a crap about this little bitty podcast.
Yeah.
So today we are going to discuss the movie Leprechaun. It's from 1993.
Yes, directed by Mark Jones.
Mark Jones.
Do you know what else he directed?
I think he directed, unless you're talking about Rumpelstiltskin.
I am talking about Rumpelstiltskin.
I know, I saw that. I still need to watch that, and we'll probably get to that movie a little later.
I had a feeling we would.
I think it's going to fall into a category. We did a user-submitted question based on Leprechaun. Leprechaun was a favorite of mine when I was a kid. How about you?
A favorite, no, but Leprechaun was huge as a kid. I feel like everybody talked about Leprechaun.
They did.
I remember like the hype when it came out.
It was probably easily accessible.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of those covers like where we couldn't rent Maniac, but our parents would be glad to let
Leprechaun,
us rent Leprechaun because who gives a crap?
I actually remember seeing the trailer for Leprechaun at a buddy's house. It must have been the end of second grade, beginning of third grade, and the trailer. We should probably pull that up during the break. It's like the original.
Maybe we'll do that
trailer.
for our trailer for the break.
Because I remember seeing it and being like, oh my God, this looks amazing. A fucking leprechaun.
Well, the concept had never been done before. And now it's been done so often that it's kind of disgusting. I mean, especially during that like 2-year, 3-year period where Rumpelstiltskin falls in. Where they just were like, oh, let's just turn fairy tales into horror movies.
Yeah.
Really bad horror movies. Joe, do you want to give us kind of a rundown of the story?
Do I have to? Yeah. No,
I think you probably don't. Most people I think are familiar with it, and it's pretty basic.
Well,
it's very basic after rewatching.
It's very basic. It stars Warwick Davis, riding off his Ewok and Willow roles, branching out into a whole new genre.
Very big, deep.
Not being typecast.
Yeah,
at all.
no typecast here. Good for him.
And it stars an unknown Jennifer Aniston,
who is beautiful.
She is beautiful in this movie. She is beautiful.
And you know what? I gotta say, best actress in the movie. Well, I think there's only one actress.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I don't know what to compare that to.
Best actor in the movie.
For sure, it gives the best performance.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no. Warwick Davis.
Oh, well, first of all, that wasn't Warwick Davis in a lot of those scenes. I don't know if you picked up on that.
I did not.
Oh my god, I can't wait to get to it. But anyway,
see, this movie has already gotten us off task, and all we're gonna do is give a description of it.
Tell the story. Okay, tell the description. Then we'll talk
probably
about
make it pretty
Jennifer
easy.
Aniston, those legs that don't quit.
There is a leprechaun in Ireland, and his gold goes missing. Mm-hmm. He is hellbent on revenge to get his gold back. He makes his way to America in a suitcase.
Yeah.
Somebody eats one. I'm trying to make this. I don't want to break it down bit by bit. So he's from Ireland, comes to America. Somebody eats a piece of his gold. He kills to get his gold back. Gets his pot of gold back. The gold is still in somebody's belly. And it's them against a leprechaun.
Man, every time he got a piece of gold back, I was like, we are one step closer to the end of this movie. When they gave him the whole bag back, I was so happy. I was so excited. I was like, finally,
I know.
Let's wrap this up.
But wouldn't you know, the asshole counts every single little piece that's in there.
I love also that he carries around exactly 100 pieces of gold.
Exactly 100 pieces.
They couldn't have been like 78. Oh, I'm missing my 79th piece of gold. No, 100, dead nuts. Oh, boy.
I actually felt like 100 was kind of a low number.
Actually, that's what I also thought.
Those big pots can hold a lot of coins.
And this guy is supernatural and can do things at like super fast paces throughout the movie, which, by the way, just ruins any semblance of consistency in this movie. Is his powers. They just don't make any sense. Like, he can do one thing 1 minute and then has problems getting out of a suitcase. The next
exactly.
minute.
It seems like
he can literally appear out of a refrigerator, out of thin air, but cannot get out of a suitcase.
Yeah, it seems like he could have solved his problem
very easily,
really quickly.
Yeah. He could have appeared in this guy's stomach
and just gotten this piece of gold
and ripped him apart if he really felt like doing that.
Yeah, but instead he gets stuck in the suitcase.
Oh my gosh!
I will say, and I'm going to ask if you agree. Well, I guess I'll just say I did not like this movie one bit. But I will say the beginning wasn't that bad. Like, the opening scene when it takes place in... So I apologize to listeners because I'm cracking myself up. So the beginning starts up and like sets the story off, and it actually has like a dark mood, like a dark tone to it. So you're thinking, wow, okay, I don't remember it being like a legit horror movie right off the bat. It's like lightning, the atmosphere, lightning, and like fog, and I was like, okay, this isn't bad. The reason I just made myself laugh is because did you know that opening scene was 1983? Because when I was watching it, I thought it was going to be like 1860 or something ridiculous. No. It was only 10 years earlier.
I didn't even know the dates, but it just didn't make any sense. I didn't know whether it was in Ireland or in the U.S. And then when we cut to the farm, I'm like, well, I guess it's in the United States.
Yeah, it takes place in Ireland, the opening scene.
But then how did the crate get to the U.S.? Dude, I think that guy's coming from Ireland.
No. Oh, shit, I'm an idiot. He's returning home from Ireland.
Yeah, I think so.
My mistake.
I think so.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
And he's already started.
Embarrassing.
But see, I thought this guy had already started spending the gold because he like pulls up to his dirt shit ranch in a limousine.
Okay, so I was just gonna say I like the beginning part, but now I don't.
No,
I take back everything.
Because it just takes place on a farm. It's terrible, and the leprechaun's in a suitcase.
You're right.
It's awful.
You're right.
But I loved this movie when I was a kid, so I had hopes that it would be at least a fun watch. And by the way, I felt, how do I say this? I feel like horror fans in generally like this movie. Yeah. I feel like that's the consensus. I feel like the consensus is it's a fun horror movie.
I've actually seen the Leprechaun and many people's lists of best movie monster of all time, or best franchise, like the best franchise monsters.
How can you do that, though?
I don't know.
It doesn't even start off strong. Like, I know the sequels are bad, but I thought I in my brain, I was always like, the first one was good. I loved it when I was a kid. It was rewatchable, but I realized it was probably just rewatchable because it was just not that scary.
Yeah, and it's
So
just
like you could share it to your friends who don't watch horror and be like, get ready for this leprechaun swears.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's what it was. You know, you're a kid and you love your Lucky Charms, and you love fairy tales, and now this guy comes
and you could just
ruin
ruin your neighbor's life by showing it to him. Like, hey, you want to see something really fucked up? My parents let me rent. Yeah, that opening scene's weird. What's weirder is these characters that we meet.
Well, before you even meet the characters, what I thought was weird is that he's a leprechaun. Yes, that is weird, but he's a leprechaun from Ireland, and his crucifix, like, he reacts to four-leaf clovers as a vampire would to a crucifix.
Even worse, because at least, oh boy.
But why?
Oh boy.
Is that? Can somebody tell me? Is that part of the leprechaun mythology?
There are several notes in my notebook where I say, "Is this part of leprechaun mythology?" Because I don't understand what this is, but they're making it like a leprechaun thing, like the shoe shining. Is that a leprechaun thing? I mean, I know later the fat guy Ozzy goes, he told me he was a shoemaker.
You see, I know shoemakers are big in Ireland. We were both Irish. Like that was a big profession. But I mean, shoe shiner.
And like
he's a leprechaun.
the compulsion to shine shoes no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
That later happens. Well, we meet this cast of characters. Basically, it's a father and a daughter. The daughter's Jennifer Aniston. They move into this house that the leprechaun is stored in with a single four-leaf clover on a box.
That's all keeping him in there.
It takes to keep him in there. That's why it's worse than a crucifix for a vampire. A vampire can see a crucifix. I mean, depending on the corniness of the movie, he might be like, and like put his hands up to his face. But generally, they just walk around it.
Yeah, they take a step back.
Yeah, and this is like just resting on the box, and he can't get out, despite him being able to apparently teleport. So, what I don't know, but so you meet this family. It's a father and daughter. They move to this house. The daughter, Jennifer Aniston, is not having any of it. It's disgusting. Another weird aspect of this movie is there's apparently like employees to this house that the father has.
Yeah.
There's the heartthrob Nathan. There's Ozzy, who is a slow adult.
Yeah.
We should call him. And then there's the kid. I didn't even bother to write his name down. Alex, who's a complete asshole. Biggest asshole kid. If he's supposed to be endearing in this movie, they did a terrible job.
He reminded me of that kid from Tremors.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. This kid's the biggest asshole. Yeah. All he does is... So, oh my God. They find the leprechaun's gold, these two, the slow Ozzy and Alex, the young boy, who is his parents? He's just hanging around with Ozzy all the time. And they find the gold, and I mean... God, this movie, there's just so many things that I was just like, it was just like one after the other.
The best part is Ozzy's telling people that he's met a leprechaun before he even knows there's a leprechaun there.
Right. Yeah.
So he must have been doing this for years.
Yeah. And so they find this gold, and Alex is like, Ozzy, we can finally get you an operation to make you smart. And Ozzy's like, people don't think I'm smart. And this kid goes on like a diatribe, basically insult after insult to Ozzy. He's like, well, no. And then Ozzy's like, oh. And it's like, but don't worry. They don't say it in front of your face. They say it behind your back. And he's like, oh. And the kid's like, don't worry about it. You're just stupid. And you're like, what? You are the worst human being on the earth. Ozzy should kill you. Even if you do want to get him an operation to save his brain. God damn it. So anywho, the leprechaun has escaped and is now running amok in the house.
Yeah, because Ozzy takes the four-leaf clover off.
Oh, boy. Ozzy takes the... Oh boy, and the leprechaun gets loose. And God damn it. I mean, Joe, what are we doing here?
I mean, I don't want to pick this movie's not worth picking apart scene by scene. But
it was a huge letdown. Was it a huge letdown for you, or did you kind of know?
Well, okay, so my fiance and I watched this last year, but before we were doing this podcast, it was kind of the same thing. We were both talking about how much we love Leprechaun.
Watching it mindlessly.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, I didn't have to take notes on it or talk about it. But we were like, we loved Leprechaun when we were younger. Let's watch this. And then watching it, I was like, oh my God, this is painful.
Yeah.
Like after the Leprechaun escapes, he's luring kids by making cat noises, which is so stupid. Like, why is he doing that?
Well, here's the other thing. Again, with the Leprechaun lore, do leprechauns replicate noises perfectly? Because that was one of his skills. One of his fine skills was literally taking any noise or voice and replicating it in his own voice.
Yeah.
What?
Now, I might be confused because like my eyes were glazing over. Why?
Please ask me.
So who has his gold at this point?
Ah, boy. Honestly, how did they get the gold, A?
How did they get the gold? Why is Leprechaun trying to lure them? Like, why is he making cat noises to lure them?
What would he have done if these people didn't have his gold?
That's what I'm saying. And he's a leprechaun, so he knows damn well where his gold is.
Right, like that's what powers. I thought. That's what I felt like. Like I felt like he knew. I felt like he had a power and an innate ability to locate his gold.
Exactly.
Right? But then later in the movie, when they can't find the last piece, he's like, where is it? And somebody says it's in this guy's belly, and he's like, that's the first time he's figured it out. And you're like, yeah. I thought you knew where all your fucking gold was.
That's what I was thinking too.
And it was in a well the whole time, so go fucking get it. What?
And why is he making the noises to lure someone? Why can't he just be like, I'm a fucking leprechaun.
I'm going to just bounce around everyone.
You.
Yeah. it was really bad. And I don't want to pick it apart because it's just crazy. Now, oh boy. Joe, let's talk about what we liked about the movie. It's probably not a whole lot, but what did you enjoy about the movie?
Oh, God, that's a tough question.
It's a loaded question.
Well, about 10 minutes ago, I would have told you I enjoyed the beginning, but then you totally changed my mind. Are you going to ask me what I didn't enjoy?
I will, yeah.
Okay, so this answer goes for both. I enjoyed the pogo stick death scene, and I hated the pogo stick death scene. Because part of me was like, well, first of all, when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And also, I enjoyed it on the sheer ludicrousness. Is that a word?
Ludicrous.
Ludicrousy.
Oh, boy.
The sheer ridiculousness of, I don't know if that's a word either. The absurdity of a leprechaun having a pogo stick and then killing somebody with it by stomping on him. And then I also hated it for that very same reason.
Yeah. Yes. All of the above. All of the above. And here's where you kind of get this sense that the leprechaun knows where his gold is because Ozzy and this kid walk in.
At a pawn shop.
And then they walk out, right? So the leprechaun shouldn't know where the gold is. He should kill the kid and the fat guy and then go into the pawn shop when he realizes the kid and the fat guy don't have it.
Yeah.
But instead, he just goes straight into the pawn shop.
Yes.
And pogo sticks this guy. He also, in this scene, oh my gosh, he's going... He kept saying, and it just struck me as just odd. He kept saying, me coin. And I was like, what the fuck? This is terrible. Me coin. It was such a bad representation. It wasn't even a good leprechaun act. And that kill scene is so terrible. And dude, I totally agree with you. No, I don't. I get what you're saying. Like, it is a fun kill scene. It's like corny and stuff. But the fact that he bites the pawn shop owner in the arm, and the pawn shop owner goes down for what seems like 5 minutes. It's a bite. Like, get the fuck up.
A bite by a little guy.
Yeah.
Kick him.
But instead, he's just laying there, and I think he even holds his leg at one point. And then the leprechaun comes over, and I love that the leprechaun even goes, hang on 1 minute, and walks off screen.
Yeah.
And dude, the slow motion.
I know.
Was so bad. I think there's something to be said about bad slow motion and how bad the movie is.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they do it.
Yeah.
the pogo scene in slow motion. And by the way, guys, if you're thinking it's when he's actually killing him with the pogo stick, that would have made perfect sense. It's while he's approaching him. Yeah. He's approaching him on the pogo stick, and it's going in slow motion. I don't think... Did they think that was supposed to be
a dramatic effect?
I'm so terrified. No, because I would stand the fuck up. I would just stand up.
Yeah, you got bit. You have no reason to be on the floor.
Just stand up. Just stand up. And anyway, so the leprechaun starts...
Also, worth noting... Could that kill you? Like, he's not a big person. He can't weigh much. And that pogo stick wasn't that big. Like, it might bruise your ribs the first bounce. You should be able to push him off you.
Joe, blood is going everywhere. There's blood everywhere. I don't understand it. This pogo stick is... What is it? What is it made out of? It is piercing this guy's chest. And do leprechauns sing nursery rhymes? Another thing. Do leprechauns make funny ditties out of nursery rhymes?
I wish I knew... like a leprechaun expert. Like, you know how like there's like UFO experts?
Right,
there has to be someone out there. Like those people from... Do you remember those people from Alabama?
Yes.
That claim they saw a leprechaun?
Yes. Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm going to get his gold.
Could be a crackhead. I hope one of them listen to this and call us up.
We should probably get in touch with them. So he ends up getting his gold coin from this guy. And he also gets a sweet ride in a kid's... In a child's toy automobile. All right. Which leads us to the second kill of the movie.
Was that the police officer?
Yeah. And again...
Why is he doing that? He just wants his gold back. There's no way he thinks that cop has it.
And all he does is scratch the cop's face. And the cop is like ruined for life. It was so weird. It was so weird. And then... Okay, so here I had this other theory. Okay, so remember in the beginning when the leprechaun is making cat noises?
Yeah.
And everyone thinks it's a cat. So after he ends up killing this police officer in the woods by jumping on its neck and breaking his neck. Terrible kill scene.
Yep.
Breaking necks is not fun. So he's sitting on his neck and he starts like playing with the cop's dead head, like patting it back and forth with his hands. And it was like a cat. When a cat kills a mouse and plays with it, is there a chance that the leprechaun is actually a cat? I'm just saying.
I can't argue.
He's in trees all the time. He's hanging out in the trees constantly. When he gets into the house, he's just all over the place. He's in the cabinets and shit. I think the leprechaun's a cat. I think the leprechaun's a cat. And everyone just like took mushrooms or something and saw a leprechaun.
There's something I can get behind.
And imagine they kill a cat like that viciously in a well and light it on fire. They're just tripping. Oh my God. So these are the things I was thinking about because I was so bored during this movie.
He's actually a cat.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't tell me. What was your favorite part?
Well, my favorite part, I guess it falls into kind of that unexplained thing. I think it's a fun concept.
I agree with that.
I think the concept is great. Like a leprechaun as a monster is so funny and great. And that's probably what made me like it as a kid, but it was just so bad this time around. Also, makeup was really good, I thought.
It was.
I like it.
I can't complain about it.
I like the character. I like the way he looks. And the final death sequence where he's like his face is melting, pretty sweet special effects. Not the best, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Until the digital came in. Until it started getting like all digital and he started turning into a weird whatever, I don't know, ghost. But when he's like melting, when his skin's melting and stuff, I thought that was pretty great. Jennifer Aniston's a bonus.
Agreed.
A pro there. That was good.
You know what else I just thought of this that I could also include in both liking and disliking at the same time? The bear trap scene. The guy walks out of his house and he steps into a bear trap that the leprechaun set up.
Well, first of all, wait a minute. So I rewound this scene 3 times, unfortunately, and I don't even remember why. I think I was just trying to figure out what happened here. So the leprechaun set up this bear trap?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But that's not even why he falls into it. He hits a log. He like trips on a log and then falls into the bear trap. Why couldn't he have just stepped in the bear trap? Are you telling me the leprechaun was like, no, this motherfucker's going to see the bear trap. I'm going to put a log in front of it. I know he won't see the giant log that's twice the size of the bear trap, and he'll trip over that and fall into the bear trap.
Who walks outside expecting to see bear traps?
Okay, and now, so this was one of my least favorite scenes of the movie because this was when Warwick Davis is not the leprechaun in that scene. This is when we see, which I presume is his stunt double, because after that, I noticed in any physical scene, it changed. But so the guy falls in the bear trap. The leprechaun comes out from the bushes dancing and singing like, oh, even though he could just kill these people. I don't know, whatever. So he's dancing around him. As soon as he gets to the guy, it cuts. And the leprechaun is about 3 feet taller and has nice, long, slender legs and not those like crippled legs Warwick Davis has. And he's dancing around. He's dancing around. Well, he does. He's got like, they're like,
but yeah.
When he's walking, and I'm trying not to be, I didn't mean to be offensive, I'm sorry, but when he's walking in those high heels, he looks like he's in pain. He looks like he's miserable. Oh, wait, actually, on How Did This Get Made? Didn't they read a segment out of Warwick Davis's autobiography, and he was like, it was the worst pain of my life? I think, and on that podcast, How Did This Get Made? They talk about it, and he was like, I hated this movie. The makeup was terrible.
But why did he do it 6 more times?
I don't know, the money.
There's no way he's making bank off these.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe that was after this. I don't know. But anyway, so anywho, they, so I don't know. But when he's walking in those high heels, it looks like he is in the most, his legs are like buckling. He does not look well in those boots. Those boots look awful. I don't know why they couldn't have just given him nice little booties with like elf shoes.
Yeah.
They're heels, like pilgrim shoes. Oh my God, it's crazy. And so anyway, so this guy, the leprechaun becomes 3 feet taller and is just bent at the knees, trying to be as low as possible to the ground.
I did not notice that.
Oh my God, it's so bad. And in that scene, I was like, why did that just change? And then later I noticed I saw this other actor whenever there was like a fight sequence. So I was like, oh God, he's the stunt double, but why did they need a stunt double for the dancing scene when he's just dancing around him?
I don't know.
Because his legs were probably on fire from those terrible shoes. Yeah. So yeah, that bear trap scene was brutal.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your least favorite things? There's so many of them, but can you I have some that are just really got me going.
My least favorite thing, I mean, it's at the very end. Do you want me to say it right now?
Yeah, sure.
When he takes the wad of gum, it sticks a
my
4-leaf
God.
clover to it. I mean, it's so stupid. He throws it into the leprechaun's mouth. I mean, what?
It doesn't make sense.
What?
It doesn't make any sense.
But the 4-leaf clover controls, why do you have to stick it to gum and throw it on him? Why can't you just walk up to him with it?
He's not going anywhere fast. They've proven that time and time again in this movie. He uses these powers when he least needs it.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I mean,
Yeah,
I thought that was one of my least favorite things in the movie, but pretty much the entire movie was my least favorite thing.
Yeah, it's really, really bad.
I mean, the flow of it,
Here, I'm going to definitively tell you the worst scenes in the movie. I'll start with this one. The gang is trying to escape the leprechaun. They're trying to get in the car and get the hell out of Dodge.
Yep.
The car won't start. They're stuck in there. They go to check under the hood. The leprechaun is in there eating the engine because from everything we know about leprechauns, they love eating car parts, right? I mean, if we know anything about leprechauns, it's that they love eating pieces of the engine. So they're locked in this car now, and the leprechaun, he's not terrifying in this movie. I don't know what they're so scared about. He just scratches people and bites you. I mean, he has killed some people, but there's 4 of you there. You should be able to grab a hold of this little bitch and
throw him.
Yeah. Just toss him. Anyway, so they're terrified of him. They won't get out of the car. The leprechaun busts through the window, bites Ozzy's ear, they put a cigarette lighter on his nose and he runs away. Dude, this leprechaun retreats more than any other monster. He doesn't deserve to be on a monster list because he's the biggest pussy on the planet. Dude, every time something happens to him, he runs away. What? He retreats and gathers himself. Maybe he's the smartest monster, though. Anyway, but this was the worst part. So he escapes to the barn, and they hear this noise. They don't know what it is. Barn doors fly open, and out comes the shittiest looking go-kart I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks like it's made out of scrap metal, which, by the way, it must have been because the fucking leprechaun made it in the barn seemingly in a few minutes. It's the shittiest little thing. It's the size of a leprechaun, so small. He drives it into this full-size pickup truck with 4 human beings inside of it and throws this truck ass over tea kettle, like the car's destroyed somehow by this leprechaun hitting it with the go-kart.
Yes.
I've never seen anything so goddamn stupid in my entire life. Oh, wait. Okay. No, there is something stupider. That's dumber. Stupider's not a word. Dumber in that scene. Somehow they all managed to get out of the truck in seconds. They all managed to gather themselves after that devastating.
God.
Oh, boy. I mean, talk about crazy. And I mean, the shoe shining bit.
I know.
When they all.
I know.
Jennifer Aniston's like, okay, you guys distract him. So they throw shoes and he can't do anything besides shine them. He's like looking at Jennifer Aniston drive away like, oh shit, I need to get her. But I can't because I got to shine all these shoes.
I know.
What?
I know.
Oh my gosh. Now, I do have one other thing for my best of list though. What I really liked, best scene, besides just being vague and being like, well, I guess I like the makeup.
Yeah.
The eye poke scene where Jennifer Aniston pokes out his eye with a nightstick.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. The force of that would have to be so huge to knock out your eye completely. But when the leprechaun takes the eye from the cop, the dead cop, and plug it in his own eye, I was like, you know what? That was awesome. That was the best part about this. But yeah, overall, not great.
Not even close.
Ruined my memories of this movie from when I was a kid. And I mean, obviously I was a stupid kid, but I loved it when I was a kid, man.
I did too. And like we said, I keep seeing it on best of lists. So like all these years, like I haven't watched it, but I just kept thinking, it must be great.
Yeah, right.
Loved it. Everyone else seems to love it.
That's kind of what it was too. Like it was part of this lore. And that's probably also because a lot of people that don't watch horror movies probably listed in their top. Like that don't ever watch it, but watched like a handful growing up. We're probably like, remember Leprechaun? That movie was great. And no, it's awful. Also, my least favorite thing, by the way, I shouldn't have apologized for being offensive for calling him walking like a cripple because this movie is so offensive to the mentally challenged. Okay, the end scene where Ozzy goes, I did a smart thing, didn't I? I was like, come on. And then what made it worse is the kid goes, yeah, you did, Ozzy. Yeah, you did. Are you serious? Like, this is in 1993. Don't people know that that's like a cliche at that point to be like, you sure did, Ozzy. You sure did.
And then he takes him to the farm and shoots him like Of Mice and Men.
That is all I could think about. First of all, I love Of Mice and Men, not to get off topic, but Lenny from Of Mice and Men. That's all I could think about was like, Alex is going to be like, all right, time to go plunk Ozzy. Time to take Ozzy behind the barn and plunk him.
You did a real good thing.
You did a real good thing, Ozzy. Boom. Now, here's another thing. So this movie ends basically... it's awful ending. I can't even. So they hit him with the 4-leaf clover. He melts, right? Okay. He falls into a well.
They pour gasoline down the well.
Wait. But let's just talk about this for a minute. From all they know, yes, the 4-leaf clover should have killed him.
Yep.
Okay. He comes back out of the well alive. At this point, you should be thinking, oh, we can't kill him. But instead, they just light him on fire. Which, by the way, you've shot him with a shotgun like 3 or 4 times. He's not going to die that way. He's not going to die that way.
Right.
And that was fire work? Why would you think that would work? Like, out of all the things, I'd be like, that fuck is still alive. Like, we have to figure something out now. Now. But I also, the thing I brought that up, the reason we brought up the ending was I had this weird dark version of the ending, because at the end the cops all converge on the house, and because they'd called the cops, and they, again, in typical horror movie fashion, they show up the next day.
Right.
Even in the smallest town in the world. So the cops pull up after the explosions happen. The leprechaun's buried in the well. And all I could think about was the cops being like, Ozzy, put your hands up. Like, blaming it on the mentally ill guy. Yeah. Like, Ozzy, we know you did this.
Yeah.
You've done a bad thing, Ozzy. You've done a very bad thing. You've killed people, Ozzy. You were the last man to see the man at the pawn shop.
That should have been how it ended.
Right? I was like, that's the darkest fucking ending. And, like, you just see Ozzy, like, getting shot up by the cops. Yeah. He's like, no, it wasn't me. And tries to run away. And then the gold falls out of his stomach.
Yeah.
Fuck, why didn't they pay me to write this?
Oh, man. That would have been awesome.
Oh.
The gold falls out of his stomach. And then a cat comes.
Oh, right. The cat. The cat is the leprechaun. I forgot all about that. Oh, my gosh. There's something to be said about, like, a movie, where the leprechaun doesn't exist. It's like a Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's all Ozzy.
In a mentally retarded
or like high tension, yeah. Like, it's just all in Ozzy's head. Just, oh, my God. That's sick.
That is sick.
All right, guys. Hey, we're going to take a... What?
Before we take our break, I just wanted to ask you, would you recommend this to people? Because my answer was no. But then I don't know why, I just had so much fun talking about it, because it's so stupid. And like
it is stupid. I would say if you haven't seen it before, I would say definitely check it out just to see it. Oh boy, I don't know how to answer this. See it when you're young, and never watch it again, and enjoy the fondness.
What advice to give?
Go back in time.
Go see it when you're young.
Because if you're young listening to this, you tell your parents, because you should not be listening.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah, don't.
Have you seen any of the sequels?
I haven't. I've seen 2 very long time ago.
Dude, 2 is I legitimately enjoy it more than 1.
Really?
3 is such a pile of dog shit.
Which one's space?
4.
How many are there?
And then there's Leprechaun. There's 6. And then there's Leprechaun in the Hood, and there's Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Oh, Back to the Hood.
With sticky fingers.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what was confusing me. I'm gonna have to check out 2.
You mean 2 or Back to the Hood 2?
2.
Okay.
The second one. Yeah.
Also check out Back to the Hood.
Because I knew Back to the Hood 2 was awful, like god awful.
There is a scene with a motorcycle. There's a scene. I don't know. It might be Sticky Fingers' character. It might be just someone else riding a motorcycle, and they go to hit. See, I've seen this a long time ago. They go to hit someone. I don't know if it's Leprechaun or someone. They go to hit someone. So he's riding on a motorcycle, at motorcycle speed, and then you just see like a hand, like they superimposed the clip, so it's not like a smooth thing. They edited it, so it's going fast, like 60 miles an hour, and then it slows down. And you just see like a hand with a stick hit someone in the head, and it goes back to this fast motorcycle speed. One of the stupidest things I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh my gosh! And that was boy,
it was recent.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We've got some awesome stuff to talk about. We've got some user submissions.
Yes.
Talking about movies that you loved as a kid and then just do not hold up when you rewatch them when you're older or as an adult. You rewatch them and you just think, I was an idiot. I had no brain, clearly. We'll be right back, though.
Now, your city encounters America's fearless shock producer face to face as he dares the ultimate in savage realism.
America's most daring filmmaker sets out to strike his audience with a 1,000-volt jolt, and he achieves it.
Europix International puts you through the ringer with Frenzy of Blood, a starkly realistic double-barrel power package.
Frenzy of Blood, offering number 1. I Dismember Mama. Violently raw, brutally frank. It had to be made that way.
Frenzy of Blood, offering number 2. Blood-Spattered Bride, where insanity turns to unbearable violence.
Together, I Dismember Mama, and Blood Spattered Bride. Supervised admission will not permit anyone under the age of 17 to attend unless properly accompanied by a parent or adult guardian. The R rating will be strictly enforced.
If you want to discuss Frenzy of Blood, you've got to see it first.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that trailer, whatever one we pick for this week. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. You guys have been crazy. It's crazy how well it's been doing. We really appreciate it. We missed a couple people on our Valentine's Day episode. They sent in some late submissions. One Buzz Breadsticks, who is actually somebody we know in real life. He said his Valentine was Elvira's breasts. That was his vote for Valentine, which, hey, whatever, man. Another one, she's on Tumblr. Her name is Grandma is Watching Horror. She was out of the country and didn't have the internet, but she's going to tell us her belated choices now. She wrote, I'm a child of the 90s. My first instinct is Sidney Prescott. Next up would be...
So she's not a grandmother.
Oh, right. You outed yourself, Grandma's Horror. I actually knew that because I asked her if she actually was a grandma, because that would have been so crazy. But she just outed herself. So her first instinct is Sidney Prescott, and next up would be Lola from The Loved Ones.
I'm not familiar with The Loved Ones.
Neither am I. It's on my list of things to watch, so I'm going to have to check that out and then let you know if that's a good Valentine or not. Just kidding. It's a great Valentine. Thank you for
Sidney
sending
Prescott is a solid one.
That is a really good one. And
Nev Campbell was in her prime.
she should be that should be one of our tops on our list coming up for next year for our Valentine.
Yeah, for sure.
She was in all four of them. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean? There's something to be said about being in four. Do you know what I mean? In the franchise, like you were in every one in the franchise. It wasn't like disappear for 5 years and come back in 9.
Right.
And claim your role again, assholes. Like, stick it out. Well, then again, Scream was just good. So they never had like Scream 3 Back to the Hood. So she never had to worry about that.
But they should have.
They definitely should have. All right, guys. So we asked everyone out there what movie you watched as a kid or when you were younger that you absolutely loved or just scared the pants off of you, and then you rewatched it as an adult or later in life, and you just can't even handle that you ever thought that way about it.
Yeah.
Joe, do you have any other movies like that?
I do. I do. So I loved this. I'm gonna get some flack for some of these. I loved Dracula when I was a kid, the original black and white one.
Yep.
And watching it as an adult, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
I liked it,
I feel that.
When I was younger, Dracula was like the shit. Like he was the vampire. There wasn't 1,000 vampire movies.
No, not at all. It was just Dracula.
There wasn't vampire love stories.
Yeah.
It was just Dracula. So like you would catch it late night. Like your parents didn't care if you watched Dracula. It was a classic, but it's kind of fucking boring.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, when I watched The Black Cat, I don't know if we talked about it on this show, but they played chess for like a solid like 5 minutes of the movie, and I was just,
movies
why is this happening?
Movies like that are like they're filmed like plays, like plays used to be,
right?
Like stage shows.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing about them, kind of too, is sometimes I like putting my brain into somebody back then, where they hadn't seen anything like we've seen.
Right.
And I think about that, like the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari or however you pronounce it. And somebody actually just posted on Twitter about that. Like it was, I think it was released today in 1920.
Oh, wow.
This day. And I was just like, imagine seeing the people's faces after seeing that, walking out of the theater. They were probably shitting themselves. They probably couldn't even handle how scary that movie was.
Right. And that's why I appreciate Dracula. I'm just saying I loved it as a kid, and
listen,
I don't.
That's
anymore.
Subjectivity, man. That's the best part of horror.
Now, another one that I loved as a kid, is Freddy's Dead.
Okay. Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
And I loved it because that was it's by far the silliest Freddy has been in any movie. I mean, he plays fucking Nintendo with Breckin Meyer's character. talking about he's beating his high score. You know,
Yes.
Alice Cooper makes a cameo as Freddy's dad.
Yeah.
And it's just,
It was almost like Gremlins 2 in a way.
It's
like,
just out of control.
Yeah, just completely nuts.
but as a kid, I was like, this is the best movie ever.
and that's unfortunately probably what it was geared towards, which is kind of fucked up.
And now when you watch it as like an older person, you're like, this is just too much. This is just ridiculous.
That's insane. I haven't thought about that movie in forever.
What about you?
So, honestly, it's hard to think about. Well, so we mentioned Rumpelstiltskin.
I knew that.
Without rewatching it, I can confirm that I'm going to hate it. It's listed as like an awful movie. They say the only redeeming part is the special effects. And I looked up pictures of it today, and there's a picture of Rumpelstiltskin riding a motorcycle with sunglasses on. I don't even have words. And honestly, Tremors was a big one. During the show, I was like, it lost that effect it had on me as a kid. I loved it as a kid, and it must have just been the blood. I must have felt I must have felt that I was doing something that I shouldn't have by watching it because of all the blood and stuff. But it was rewatching at this time for the podcast did not hold up for me as much. And then Leprechaun.
Leprechaun for sure.
Leprechaun, honestly, man, that was like a huge part of elementary school for me. That was like the horror movie for me in elementary school because other people knew about it, so they finally talked to me about horror movies. And I just liked it. I think I liked all the fairy tale movies. I was stupid. I was very stupid.
Kids like fairy tales. I mean, that's what you.
Well,
read
it's just
all
like,
the time.
I remember my dad showing me like Grimm fairy tales, and I always thought that was really cool that they were so evil and dark. Like he had the real book, the real stories where it was like brutal and no one comes out in a happy ending. So I think this was just an extension of that. Where I was just like, yeah, these are supposed to be cool. These are supposed to be nice. And I'm watching the bad version. This leprechaun kills people with pogo sticks. But yeah, it was a big letdown rewatching that. I'm sure there's a ton of others. And we did find out about some other people's. So I'm going to start reading these. These are amazing. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to go in this order I have. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. If I leave you out, I'm so sorry, but I will give you a shout out on our website regardless. So Grandma's Watching Horror again sent us another email. She says, I have to say Halloween H2O. I could understand this. Because at 9, I wasn't allowed to watch it, so I had to sneak down and sit on the stairs. Oh my God. I remember doing stuff like that, like hanging outside the room to watch what my parents were watching. Yep. That's so crazy. I hadn't thought about that in forever. I have this intense memory of seeing Joseph Gordon-Levitt's face split open by a hockey stick and being completely terrified before I got caught watching and had to sulk my way back upstairs. Then finally rewatching as an adult. That has got to be a big letdown. Seeing that scene, that's the best scene in the movie, the opening sequence.
Yeah, agreed.
So to see that and be like, oh man, can't wait to rewatch this terrifying flick. So she says, then finally rewatching as an adult, after spending my teenage years fawning over the earlier Halloween movies, I was extremely disappointed by the film. Then there was also Teen Wolf. It used to make me cry because I was so terrified of werewolves. I've made some progress since then, thankfully. I kind of get the Teen Wolf thing. I remember crying seeing Gremlins. I was so scared of Gremlins. I cried. I think Buzz Breadsticks was there. I was so young. I was probably, I don't even know, 7 or 8 maybe. Maybe less. I don't know. No, 7 or 8 probably. And I remember watching it when the water hits him and his back starts turning. That's fucking awful. And Gizmo's crying. Gizmo's like in pain. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm hatching eggs. It was like my body's turning against itself.
Yeah.
And making horrible things. So I totally get the Teen Wolf thing. Don't worry. I'm with you there. Do not sit next to Dennis. Another good gal, as we learned. She let us know. She also told us that the meaning of her name, do not sit next to Dennis, is actually a reference to Cabin Fever, which I'm sure a lot of people listened to and were like, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
So it's a reference to Dennis, the Kung Fu hillbilly. And his dad hangs up a sign that says "Do not sit."
That's
next
an
to
awesome
Dennis.
name.
It is so good. And by the way, to find her on Tumblr, it's do-not-sit-next-to-Dennis. .tumblr.com. She says, when I was much too young, I watched Candyman. I had nightmares that Candyman was going to come and get me. Years later, I finally plucked up the courage to watch. That I think is actually one of the funnier parts of like watching something as a kid and being like I remember Gremlins I didn't watch for a while because I was like, I know it scared me at one point, and then I rewatched it and I was like, God damn it.
I was also terrified of Candyman.
Yeah. When did you see it for the first time? When you were young?
Young.
Really?
Like, would it come out in 92?
Probably.
I probably
yeah.
saw it in 93.
That's crazy. I had known about it. That was another one people talked about a lot.
That was one that a kid who will remain nameless but lived in my neighborhood behind me, his father owned it. And I remember one day after school, like we would always go play football. Yeah. His parents were at home, so we went and popped it in. And like he would dare me to say Candyman 3 times in the mirror. And there's no fucking way I would do that. And it's still not, so fuck you.
That's awesome. So she continues, years later, I finally plucked up the courage to watch it again. I was completely surprised that half the stuff that I was so scared of didn't even happen. I get that. I must have confused my nightmares with the reality of the film. So when I watched it again, it became apparent it was not as scary as I thought. That's funny. That
is funny.
I mean, that kind of stuff also blows up when you have other people that watch it and you're like kind of just bending the story of Candyman like to each other.
Yeah.
Like you and your friend probably like morphed that tale.
Yeah, making your own mythos of the Candyman.
Yeah. The Pain of Being Dead said, he's got a few. Oh my gosh. Joe, I hope you've seen some of these. Oh yeah, this last one's good. Okay, so The Pain of Being Dead says The Stuff. Mm-hmm. He just writes, evil white goo from the ground. Let's all eat it. I haven't even seen it, but that's so funny.
I think it's by the guy that did It's Alive. Remember the It's Alive movies?
Dude, I love It's Alive.
I can't think of the dude's fucking name.
I love It's Alive. Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure he made the stuff too.
Well, that makes sense because It's Alive is also insanely stupid. Rawhead Rex.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
Full disclosure, still love this movie.
Yeah.
But watching it now is embarrassing. Rawhead Rex looks like... This is legitimately one of the funniest things I've ever read. Rawhead Rex looks like a biker with macrocephaly.
It's true.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Number 3.
You've never seen Rawhead Rex?
I know of it, and I've seen the images, but I've never watched it. Night of the Lepus.
But, oh my
Joe's
god.
eyes just lit up.
I was going to suggest that we watch this movie. It's about fucking rabbits. Holy shit.
Terrified me as a kid. Watched it recently. Side-eyed past self. Oh, looking like side-eyed at himself. Right? Dolly Dearest.
I've not seen that.
Okay, I've seen this. Dolls remain terrifying, but this movie and its effects did not age well. It's really bad. 5. Every Ghoulie film. The one in the toilet used to haunt my dreams. Now they just look like slimy puppets. That was a great.
What is it? What is this user's name?
The Pain of Being Dead. They post some really amazing stuff.
I want to watch movies with them.
Yeah, I know. They're definitely up our alley.
Just picture Rawhead Rex.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. The Evil Dana on Tumblr. One of my favorite films I loved as a kid was Sometimes They Come Back. I quoted the shit out of that movie. An old friend and I even picked characters we liked and called each other by their names. I was Vinny and she was North. I still like to watch it every now and then. One film that scared me as a child, which I just now realized, the next 2 films I will be mentioning are also Stephen King, was Sleepwalkers. The song playing at the end credits would remain stuck in my head and haunting me. And Silver Bullet, that's another vote for Silver Bullet, was in fact the first horror film I'd ever seen and scared the shit out of me. Sing It Now, it's fun to watch, and it has Gary Busey in it. Gotta appreciate that. That's a good one. I can't believe Silver Bullet made it twice. That's one of those sleepwalkers I am with her 100% on. And I have not seen that since I was a kid, but legitimately scared the shit out of me. The Corkscrew.
Oh. Wow.
We
I
might
haven't
need to
thought about
redo
sleepwalking
Dude, neither.
in a while.
Man, when I tell you this, I just thought of it the other day and I was like, I need to rewatch that. That scared the bejesus out of me as a kid. And I need to rewatch it. And now I'm kind of, maybe I won't. Because it is terrifying in my head.
Right.
We're getting down to the last few. Jessica on Facebook, she wrote, The Gate. Hands down, this was the scariest movie to watch as a child. Then as an adult, I was a bit ashamed of my younger self.
I thought about including The Gate on my own, and I loved it. Loved it as a child.
Yeah. She says, I will still watch the movie every single time it's on, which is not too often. This is another Tumblr user, Misty-Saurus-Rex. I'll post her name on there. She said fear.com. I don't even feel the need to explain why, because it's 2015 and I'm referencing a movie that was made in 2002 about the spooky internet, which is so true. Like, the internet was the bad guy. Like, what? And then my wife, I don't even know if I want to say her name, E. She said, I know what you did last summer.
I had that written down on my list.
I must have been blinded by my love for FPJ. She writes in parentheses, that's Freddie Prinze Jr. for those of you not hip to my 90s lingo. And we do have one more. I'm sorry. I cannot forget to leave this guy. He goes by the name Fake Funeral. He wrote us such an awesome long letter explaining his choice from when he was a kid. And I love it. I thought it was great. I'll just read part of it. So he writes, Now I must admit, this is a guilty pleasure for me, as I love all 90s cheesy era horror. But I recently rewatched this with my girlfriend and couldn't help but cringe at one major aspect of the film. Brandy is a fucking terrible actress, and her role in this movie should have been omitted from horror history. The fact that Mekhi Phifer's character is trying to finger blast her the entire time is very troubling to me. Like, come on, man, you can do better. Her role in the movie is a catalyst to bring the characters Julie and Ray back together. This is a popular trope in many films, but the execution is horrible. She runs from scene to scene being a snotty, annoying asshole. The character known as Carla Wilson that she plays is vile. Her personality is dog shit. Brandy had a hit song at the time and got cast in the franchise. It all makes sense, but I hate it. I literally was pulled out of the story the second she opened her mouth. I know this isn't really the film as a whole that bothered me, but she really brings the atmosphere and mood way down for me now. And he actually goes on to list some quotes from this character. He does say, as a side note, the rewatch was worth it because Jeffrey Combs is in it and Jack Black is in it.
Is he?
Yeah, he plays a character named Titus Telsko, my favorite stoner character / white guy with dreadlocks. He even gives us like references and stuff. It's so amazing. And his name was Fake Funeral on Tumblr.com. Yeah, it's a good entry. Guys, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much.
Yes.
We really appreciate everything you guys are doing. We can't believe the love we're getting from you guys. Send us emails just about what you think of the show or if you have any ideas. If you want to see a horror movie talked about on it, let us know.
Let us know.
We will definitely watch it. I think we've got some ammunition just off of these to rewatch.
Yes.
As always, we want to thank Harley Poe for letting us use the song Gorehound. You can find him at harleypoe.com or facebook.com/harleypoe. From there, you can find his Bandcamp and iTunes. And you can find him on our website also. You can find me on Twitter, I Hate Horror Show. Damn it, I always leave out the at. At I Hate Horror Show.
You can find me at Jovi421.
You almost fucked up your own. And here's the only one that hasn't changed a million times. You can also find us at ihatehorror.tumblr.com, ihatehorror.com, and we now have a Facebook, so please come like us on Facebook, and that is facebook.com/ihatehorror. As always, please, we appreciate all the love. We thank you guys just for downloading, but if you can find some time, please just subscribe to us on iTunes and rate and review. It just helps us get more listeners. And what I really want is to be featured on iTunes when Halloween comes around. God damn it, we deserve to be in the spooky podcast section.
Agreed.
I'm gonna throw a fit. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it so much. You guys are amazing.
Yes.
Adios.